Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining this session, this meeting, webinar, whatever you want to call it. Um, we're very happy, Maria and I, to host you today. We have a packed topic list to go through, and we hope that you'll be able to enjoy it, and most especially provide us with your comments and feedback when necessary. So the webinar today is sponsored by Lacroix Institute of Technology. It's a private professional training institution in Canada. It's endorsed by the IIBA as a training partner and by the Quebec CPMT. It's a commission of the Ministry of Labor for vocational training. That's the sponsor of today's event. In terms of the topics that we need to discuss, we're going to be at the crossroads of AI and business analysis. So at the crossroads there, we'll try to understand the topic, look at the spectrum of AI, the opportunities and challenges in terms of adopting AI, what impact it has on your jobs or on our jobs as business analysts. Maria and I are practicing business analysts. What case studies exist in terms of the application of AI, as well as how to leverage AI. And we will conclude with some interesting insights moving beyond the crossroads. So a little bit about ourselves, Maria.
Yeah, I'm very honored to be here today and introduce Dr. Elliot. He is a practicing senior business analyst and IT project manager who has led many software implementation projects over the last 15 years. So that's a lot of experience here. His academic background includes an MBA and also a doctorate in administration, business administration, with focus in technology. And during his research, he realized that companies are struggling to implement these technology projects. So he came up with a solution and created UDEL 360, which is a digital tool that helps company to avoid these pitfalls. He's very passionate about helping individuals pursue careers in technology, and his areas of expertise include technology strategy and transformation, business process improvement, and technology training. In his free time, whatever that means, he loves to read, garden, and play with his daughter. So I'm very honored to be here with you today, Dr. Elliot, and ready to continue this conversation.
Thank you very much for that very passionate introduction. Free time is free time.
I know, right?
Right. So Maria, called by some of her friends the Little Sunshine. She's a senior practicing business analyst. Over the last 7 years or so, she's worked on very high profile projects at very uh, remarkable institutions, be it in Latin America or here in Canada. Her academic background includes a Bachelor of Industrial Engineering, so she's an engineer by training. She's just about to finish her master's in AI. How coincidental that is. And she's focused on how to apply AI in business settings. So that's very interesting. She's very passionate about impacting the community. You can see it through how she communicates. Um, Through her volunteer work, she founded IIBA Hamilton chapter. So she's the founding president there. That's a huge achievement. And she's currently the IIBA Regional Director for Latin America. In case you don't know what the IIBA is, that's the flagship go-to organization for anything business analysis in the world. During her free time, she walks, reads, travels, rides her bikes. That's a lot of things to do in her free time, but that's what she does. Maria is very focused, and she has some key expertise skills in business process improvement, intelligent automation, and AI. So that being said, we would dive straight into the topics for today. I'll let Maria run the show.
Mhm. Thank you so much, Dr. Elliot. So I have some homework for everyone. I want you to count during the presentation how many times Dr. Elliot and I say the word ChatGPT. And at the end, I will tell you like why I ask you to do this. Okay, but if you're here today, I'm guessing it's because you're either curious to learn more about AI and business analysts, or maybe you're my friend just came to cheer on me. But regardless of your intention, there is no doubt that artificial intelligence has disrupted how businesses operate and make decisions. And this disruption is impacting, of course, the way we work. So, just to make sure we are all on the same page before starting this presentation, I would like to start by talking about Zizi. So, Zizi is my little friend, and like any other toddler, she has a mind like a sponge. She soaks up all the information and experience at a very rapid pace. She keeps learning through observation, mimicking humans, myself included, and experimenting. But of course, she makes errors and mistakes. But she has really learned how to overcome by getting more information from her parents and people around her. I hadn't seen her in about a year, and I couldn't stop noticing how much she has grown and learned during the last months. And just like Zizi, we could think of artificial intelligence just like a digital toddler, which is getting information and data to predict an outcome. Artificial intelligence models also make mistakes and errors, but we as humans can provide better inputs, better formulas, or better data to improve those results. And although there's not an universal definition of AI, we'll be presenting or using today the definition by the Encyclopedia Britannica, which states that artificial intelligence is the ability of a digital computer or computer controlled robot to carry out the tasks that would commonly be associated with intelligent beings. So, in simpler words, it's the ability of a computer to make decisions or to predict an outcome. But to further understand this term, let's look at two of the stages of artificial intelligence. Two of the stages of AI can be weak, narrow AI and artificial general intelligence. So, weak, narrow AI has this name because in this scenario, systems are designed to perform specific tasks. They have limited context and they cannot perform tasks outside their field. So, if we think, for example, of Siri or Alexa, these are virtual assistants that are using machine learning algorithms to understand natural language commands, so whatever we are telling them, and respond in a way that seems very natural for us humans. So, yes, these are some of the examples. They are using specific tasks, they don't have a broad scope. Now, if we think of artificial general intelligence, they could, in theory, execute broader tasks and even self-teach. So if you thought ChatGPT is artificial general intelligence, well, I'm glad to tell you it is not. In fact, we are still far away from this stage, and I don't even know if we'll be alive when that ever happens, if it ever happens. But to give you an idea of what it would look like, think of R2D2 from Star Wars, or Jarvis from the Avengers, or Terminator, or the movie Her. Like these are um, systems that perform any intellectual task, but they only exist in theory and research, not in practical applications. So now, if we move to the next slide, please, Dr. Elliot. We could stay here all day talking about AI, but here we can see some key concepts and techniques. And because we don't have like a lot of time, you will have anyway access to this recording and ebook to deep dive a bit more. But very quickly, there are some subfields within artificial intelligence, which include machine learning, deep learning, natural language processing, generative AI, and so on. You can find here the description and applications to our business analysis role, but I'll provide more details in a minute. But if there is something that I want you to keep from this slide, is that all these subfields of AI are using data to make predictions and take actions. However, all these applications vary depending on the business needs. And depending on those requirements that we have from our stakeholders, that's what is going to help us decide which subfield we should focus on. And that's where we as business analysts come into place. So why don't we move to the next slide, please? Because I want to ensure that we are all on the same page and understand what is a business analyst or what we do. So as defined by the BA book, so the Business Analysis Body of Knowledge, a business analyst is a person who performs business analysis tasks regardless of their titles or their roles. So if you look at the right-hand side, you will find some common names for business analysts. And the fact that your title is not business analyst doesn't mean that you're not one. Our titles can vary, and in fact, our tasks can also vary depending not only on the organization we work for, but also the specific project we are involved. For example, my current role is business consultant. So, but I'm doing like business analysis activities as well. So keep in mind that regardless of the title, there are some fundamental skills and abilities that we as business analysts share. So you can see here understanding of how companies operate or analyzing needs and solutions, synthesizing and organizing information, making recommendations, being agile, collaborating with others, or spearheading an initiative. And I'm mentioning all these activities that are key and commons among all of us business analysts because they are also key for any organization and any project that we are helping to deliver. And with the increased use of AI, it makes sense to see how these two fields, the AI field and the business analyst field, can create a synergy. So now let's move to the next slide because I want you to see how, as VAs, we can look at artificial intelligence from two lenses. The first lens is being a user. So, from this lens, we can use AI to become more efficient in our role, in what we do, and enhance our insights. We can also use AI to reduce the time it takes to process a task. And of course, we can use AI capabilities to automate non-added value activities or repetitive tasks. So if we think of more specific tasks, we can see here on the top left side the requirements definition or elicitation phase. In this specific task, we could use artificial intelligence to identify patterns in user behavior and business needs. So one of the subfields that I was showing previously is called natural language processing, or NLP for short. And with this technique, we can use capabilities of AI to extract requirements or data from customer feedback, social media, and provide more meaningful insights. If we think, for example, of process mapping, there are now some tools that help out process or design process mapping by analyzing all the data logs and system interactions. So if you Google process mining tools, you will find a bunch of those, and that basically helps you identify what are the bottlenecks of a process and help you improve them. One of the tools that I've used in the past that has this feature included is called UiPath. And it's not only for robotic process automation, but it also helps you identify what are those bottlenecks so that you can focus there and automate those tasks. Of course, data analysis. So, as business analysts, we are handling large data sets to identify patterns and correlations. So, with artificial intelligence, this will help us speed this process and enable better outcomes and insights. Another activity that we can leverage, where we can leverage AI, is prototyping. And this is a very important task for us business analysts. And nowadays, there are AI powered tools that help us create interactive prototypes based on user requirements and in a faster way so that we can focus our energy where it matters the most. I recently found an app called Market AI, and it is super quick to create your prototype. So I encourage you to go and explore and see how it looks like. Now, if we go to the last section, it says documentation. Oops, sorry, in the previous slide. So with AI, we can also generate report, capture meeting minutes, and summarize those project updates. There are business analysts who don't like this documentation part. And now with artificial intelligence, we can speed up this process or at least have an initial draft and then keep iterating over it. Some of the tools that I have explored in the past include Colibri.ai or Quillbot. It helps you capture meeting minutes and summarize all those insights that you got from your meetings with your stakeholders. So yes, these tools are very nice, very helpful, but be mindful that you should read the terms of data privacy because as fancy as they seem, your data can be used for retraining purposes. So you don't want to be putting there your secret formula or all your private data, right? And we'll talk more about these threats and challenges in a second. But yes, there are many other ideas on how we can use AI capabilities for our own benefit, so as users. But now let's move on to the second lens on how business analysts can we look at artificial intelligence. So if you recall, business analysts enable change. We are change agents, and we support transformation initiatives. So, with all this buzz around AI, there's no doubt our stakeholders will start requesting AI-based projects because that's the cool thing to have, right? So, something that we really need to be mindful is that our job is to understand those requirements. We need to analyze whether those ideas are feasible. We need to assess the risk that having an AI project bring to the company or to our team. And we also need to define a mitigation plan for it. And of course, we have to review the performance and results of our projects just to be sure that it is delivering the value that we thought it would bring to our company. So, yes, as business analysts, we can be user and consumers of AI, but we can also help leverage and build on our skill set to bring AI projects to our company. We are going to be the translator or the interpreters of those requirements and ensure that whatever idea we can have in our minds really makes sense to our company. So, to give you some ideas on some of the projects where AI can be used in the different industries, let's go to the next slide and look at the different areas where we can use AI. So one of the industries that has been using AI for a while now and where it's very important is in the healthcare industry. Here we find that there are some systems that help assist doctors in interpreting medical images like X-rays, CT scans, MRIs, and it helps speed up the diagnosis and a more accurate diagnosis, by the way. Then we have the finance industry, of course. Here, there are so many use cases, but one that I really like are those virtual assistants or chatbots that help provide personalized recommendation. If you're trying to decide where to invest, you can get some ideas based on your risk appetite and handle all these routine transactions. If we look at the transportation industry, we can use predictive analytics for logistics, supply chain management, optimizing routes, or optimizing your inventory levels or delivery schedules, and so on. If we think of the marketing and advertising industry, uh, if you have received like a personalized email from one of these stores telling you what to buy, well, maybe your data has been used for those marketing campaigns to help you retain and acquire more customers. So that's another idea on where we can find AI. Now, if we go to the next slide, we can see that we also have the manufacturing industry, for example. Here we can use AI to analyze sensor data, predict equipment failures, enable proactive maintenance, and minimize downtime. In big companies or the industrial companies, the maintenance part is very critical because sometimes you cannot even stop your plant, you cannot even stop your machine. So predicting when an equipment may fail, it is very important. If we think about the retail industry, we can use computer vision technology to enable stores to not have cashiers. So I don't know if you have heard about Amazon. Sorry, not Amazon. Or is it Amazon? Yes, Amazon in US. They have now some stores where you don't have cashiers. You just go, use your even your hand. It's called One, Amazon One. And then with your sensors and all your information, you can now go enter these stores and get whatever you want to buy. There are no cashiers again. And then when you exit the store, you receive a bill and a receipt with all the items that you bought. That to me sounds pretty cool. And then we have the agriculture industry. We can use AI here to analyze historical data, weather patterns, soil conditions, and optimize planting and harvesting schedules. I recently participated in a project where we were analyzing tomato leaves. So that's another way to use AI because you don't have to go like plant by plant and look at the details of the leaves. Now you can use computer vision to quickly predict whether what type of pesticides a plant might need. Okay, so that's about these industries. If we move to the next one, we can find other industries like education, where we can use AI to personalize learning experiences, provide adaptive feedback, and support individualized instruction for students. There are some tools like Duolingo to learn other languages that are leveraging AI to perform better and have better retention of users. In the defense industry, we can use AI to enable systems that detect and respond to cyber threats. And of course, this help us protect infrastructure and sensitive data. In the law industry, you might know that there is a vast amount of legal documents. So again, we can use natural language processing to do summaries, to review these documents and be um, like spend our time where it matters the most. In the news media industry, we can use AI powered recommendation systems to analyze user preferences, browsing history, and in that way provide personalized news recommendations. And now, in the next slide, we can see in the insurance industry, we can use AI algorithms to identify suspicious patterns, anomalies in claims. And in this way, we can help prevent fraudulent activities and minimize losses. In the aviation industry, we can use computer vision to inspect all these aircraft, identify again maintenance issues and structural defects, improving the safety of everyone. And there are so many applications, and as much as I would love to talk about all of them, we are running out of time. But you can see here that AI is bringing lots of opportunities for our society, and more specifically for the business analyst field. So if we go to the next slide, we can actually see some of those opportunities that we have been talking about. So AI is definitely helping us to enhance data analysis and all these decision making capabilities. We are having like better outcomes thanks to the improved predictive analytics and forecasting that we are using nowadays. We can automate all those repetitive tasks and increase the efficiency. We can personalize and customize our customer experience, and we can have real time insights and trend identification. So, yes, of course, there are so many opportunities, but there are also some threats and demands that we should carefully consider when we decide to implement AI in our companies. And given that the main input of artificial intelligence models is data, we need to make sure that it is that all this data has privacy and security, that we have it stored in a secure and ethical manner, which currently is a huge challenge for companies. Another aspect to consider is data quality and bias. It is very important that our data represents the whole spectrum and not only certain areas of our populations. So we need to have effective data collecting, cleaning, and pre-processing methods in place. Another of the challenges that we have looked into is the lack of AI understanding and skill set. So there are many organizations that lack an in-depth knowledge of AI, and this gap might lead to technology misuse or underutilization. Another challenge could be integration difficulties. And I'm talking about integration not only from a technical perspective, like how to integrate the data to your systems, uh, into your models, but also how to integrate it to the mindset of our colleagues, of the employees, because there might be some fear of resistance to this change. Some people might be having fear of job loss or changes in the way they're working. There might be some other challenges around regulatory compliance, ethical considerations, reliability, and consistency. So, yes, there are so many challenges as well. And if we go to the next slide, we can see how challenges are perceived by people from the US and Canada. You can look at this chart when you receive this deck in more detail. But with all these challenges, there's something very nice, and it's that we as BAs are ready for change. And who better than us to help mitigate all these concerns and drive and enable the change in our organizations? So, if we go to the next slide, um, I would like to summarize these challenges and opportunities by letting you know that our jobs will not be replaced, not at all. As long as we are interacting with human beings, there's no way that VA's roles can completely be replaced. Our functions and scope, of course, will change, but for the best. We'll have better opportunities, better projects. We'll have to do more analysis, and that's where we bring all our potential. So our next step should be reskill and upskill and keep learning from all these emerging trends, because technology is going super fast and we need to keep up to date with all these trends. And just as humans started using shapestone tools to transform the environment and make their lives easier, or just like steam machines brought technological advancement to our lives, artificial intelligence is also reshaping the way we live and work. And we are here to help make this change a possibility and a reality. So now I want to invite Dr. Elliot to share some case studies where we can see how AI is applied in the real world and some other benefits that it is bringing to our society. So, Dr. Elliot, I'm going to hand it over to you to continue this conversation.
Yeah, thank you so much, Maria. That was beautiful. For those of you listening, I just want to bring these 2 points to your attention. The first is if you have questions, feel free to send up your questions through the chat. One of our colleagues would help to curate, and we will be very happy to answer the questions towards the end of our webinar. Also, there's a poll that we sent out just to see what you think about certain subjects regarding business analysis and AI. So if you could help us by providing some of your insights to those 3 questions, that would be very grateful. So in terms of case studies, how do we apply AI in the real world? How is AI being utilized in the real world? So let's zoom in into the construction industry. The reason why we selected construction is because construction is one of the least digitalized industries. So you have construction, you have agriculture, and a few other uh, industries that don't really leverage the use of digital technologies across the companies. And so, what are the opportunities for construction companies? You can use a fusion between AI and a technology called BIM, Building Information Modeling, in order to do what they usually call in that industry build with the end product in mind. So you start having, digital models of the final product, be it a building, it could be an airport, it could be whatever construction or a bridge, but you can visualize it and see all the necessary details and correct errors even before it's constructed. Uh, Opportunities ushered in by AI include job creation, like Maria was mentioning, for business analysis. It's going to be the same for pretty much every sector. So the truth is, a lot of jobs will be lost, but a lot of jobs will be created as well as a result. New jobs will be created as a result of the introduction of AI in the way that we do our work. AI is going to help with resource and waste management and optimization, scheduling, supply chain management, which typically is a problem in the construction industry. It also has challenges. We've mentioned a few of them. But those challenges go across industries like talent shortage. We have very few people who understand exactly what AI is, uh, who know how to, implement AI or how to leverage AI to perform their different tasks. So that shortage is being felt across multiple industries. You have the ethics and the governance side, everything that has to do with privacy and security and breaches. All of those things are challenges. Computing power. Before now, there's been talks a long time ago about having artificial intelligence, as far back as the 80s. The problem they had back then was that the computers were not powerful enough to run models. But now we don't have that much of a problem. That's why you start seeing AI, here and there. But we still have computing power and internet connectivity problems in other parts of the world, and in so many different sectors, and that poses a challenge. You also have emerging trends in construction in terms of the use of AI. So again, we talked of BIM, building information modeling, but we also talked of uh, I'm I'm sorry, we also talked of threats to the construction industry, like with cybersecurity, uh, Internet of Things. So when you go towards IoT, you start looking at how do you deploy hardware, intelligent hardware, like smart, maybe smart headsets for construction workers so they can receive instructions, smart eyewear, which permits them to visualize the construction work, but also to read instructions and manuals and things like that. And on the other spectrum, you have open research issues, things that are still being fine-tuned and being looked at in order to deploy in the construction industry. So the main thing here is that AI has the potential, to really improve the productivity in the construction industry. If you look at statistics and studies, you would realize that the construction industry's productivity has really been stagnating over the last 2 decades at least. And yes, there's been talks to, revamp productivity and so many different ideas. One of the main ideas there was utilizing building information modeling, which would usher in an era of collaboration instead of, competition between the different stakeholders in construction. And so right now with AI, we're seeing that there's hope for the construction industry. There's the opportunity for that industry to become even much more productive than the way it has traditionally been. And we focus on construction because construction is a huge part of every economy. If you look at global statistics, be it from Canada, from the US, or from any other country in the world, one of the heavy investments, the sectors that occupies the most investments is usually construction. So we all stand a chance to benefit from this sector getting more uh, AI support and productivity. We have other known examples of companies that utilize or that leverage AI in their day-to-day transactions. Hopefully, some of you listening, or those of you who would be re-listening, work for these companies, and you can share some of your insights on how AI is being utilized in your different companies. But you have well-known Amazon, Uber, and Walmart. You've most likely used Amazon's recommendation systems when you go to buy something, and it tells you other things that look like what you've bought or things that you could buy. So those are suggestions, those are recommendations, or you've most likely used Uber that tries to optimize your searches for transportation, or even Walmart if you're trying to utilize their e-commerce, you're trying to push towards e-commerce. If you're trying to utilize their e-commerce applications, you would notice that Those applications are a bit more intelligent than the way they used to be before. Other examples include American Express, which has really invested a lot in terms of AI leveraging. Tesla, those of you who drive Teslas, the visual recognition Tesla cars are very good and known for doing that. But then it's not just Tesla cars, which are essentially mobile robots. You have other tools and devices that utilize AI's visual recognition systems to be able to produce the results that we see. And of course, Netflix and chill. So when you start using Netflix, you start getting recommendations about the next movie to watch or something similar in that category, or even something much more customized depending on your taste for movies. So these are some examples, known examples. And the goal here is to show you that AI is much more pervasive than we thought it was. We probably didn't think about it because it wasn't ChatGPT on the news. Uh, and by the way, that's the second time we're mentioning ChatGPT for those who are keeping track. But then AI has been utilized and it's continued to be utilized across the board. That's a repeat slide. Now, we're in Canada and we're interested in showcasing some Canadian organizations leveraging AI, including the Royal Bank. The Royal Bank specifically has been very transparent when it comes to, its utilization of AI. To my knowledge, the Royal Bank has a subsidiary company that focuses on AI research and its ethical use. Those who are RBC customers would most likely have encountered Nomi, which is an AI application within your application, your banking app, or your online banking, which does recommendations. I've personally witnessed the tool suggest ways for me to save money, which is a very good thing, or suggests upcoming expenses, which I don't like to look at, but it does that pretty well. Shopify, of course, those of you who have used Shopify, you can see how robust and streamlined the e-commerce shopping experience is, mostly thanks to their deployment of AI. And TD is also a company that's very open about its use of AI, ethical use of AI, and it's deploying it in different uh, sectors or different areas of its activities, especially when it comes to investing. I should note that RBC also has Aiden. They launched Aiden, which is their product that helps consumers to be able to, navigate investment products. Those are very well-known examples of how we're leveraging AI across the board. Uh, the question that we have now is that what are we learning from these case studies, be it in terms of adoption, from what we learned from Maria, in terms of the fact that much more US organizations are adopting AI compared to Canadian organizations. However, adoption is not as low as we may think. A lot of companies, 35%, so one in three Canadian companies, one in three is actually adopting. So they've gone beyond just contemplating, they're actually utilizing the tools and seeing uh, what is it that they could benefit from AI. And so what are we learning there? The integration process between AI and day-to-day operations, it comes with a lot of opportunities, like a lot. We've looked at all of those opportunities earlier, but then it comes with challenges as well. We've looked at those challenges. Uh, the important thing to note here is that we're trying to find a way to balance those challenges vis-a-vis the opportunities. So it's always a question of finding the right balance when we're trying to do integrations. So, like I mentioned, just putting some numbers to what we've already shown, 37% of Canadian companies are actively adopting. And this was a small sample survey done by KPMG this year. You would imagine that many more companies would either be adopting AI by the end of this year or in maybe by next year. And what does that mean for you and for me as business analysts? That means that we need to be mindful of these changes, and there are certain steps that we need to take in order to leverage AI and mitigate risks. Some of those steps include uh, having, a comprehensive AI strategy. Some of you might be approached by your companies, depending on the size of your company and how well you're perceived in the company. You might be approached to help build an AI implementation strategy. So you need to be ready for that. Uh, we would be asked to help build data governance and ethical frameworks, because the base of AI functionality is good data. Like they say, garbage in, garbage out. So we would be required to, or maybe asked to, work on initiatives like that. Upskilling, reskilling for employees. I wouldn't be surprised if companies start rolling out training programs for business analysts to learn the skills that they need to work with AI as a tool, as an intelligent tool. Cross-functional collaboration, you would be probably meeting with people who would have questions about AI, and given that business analysts by default are the bridge between business and everything else, uh, you should be able to bridge the gap through your knowledge, identifying relevant use cases. So you can utilize some of the use cases we've talked about today, or uh, build on other use cases you identify through your work. But those use cases would be very important in showcasing the importance of AI and how AI can be leveraged. Of course, uh, making sure to highlight the collaboration between humans and AI more as, collaborators, not on equal footing, because humans, of course, cannot be compared to machines. But then some people have this fearful view of artificial intelligence, which Maria and I thought that we should explain. It should mostly be a collaborative view. That's how we see it, because I think, has a lot to offer, a lot more to offer than it has to take. And lastly, continuous training and improvement of AI. So AI is not something static. It's not this black hole where uh, nothing changes there. So it's going to continuously improve. It's going to get better. We would probably see companies deploying multiple AI systems. And so, what do we need to do as business analysts in order to leverage those AI capabilities? We just need to continuously, be aware of those changes, improve our skills, and be ready. More specifically, as business analysts, how could you add value? So these are traditional tasks of pretty much every business analyst. It could change slightly depending on your company, but you can add value by really focusing on risk assessment and analysis, looking at potential challenges, and working with stakeholders to see how to implement AI, requirements gathering, elicitation, and documentation. Uh, you could add value by, you know, uh, having a very detailed view of what your company really needs when it comes to artificial intelligence requirements. And the list goes further than that, but we do have a lot of value to add, be it on the ethical side, which is a very valid question. What are we doing with AI? Is it used for good or used for some nefarious interest? Data quality and governance, that's a big one. Uh, and we could go down the list. But those are traditional, business analysis tasks and skills, which we could spin around, and add a component that includes AI, such that we continue to be relevant in our different companies and we continue to, add value. There's the point of transparency, which I wanted to wrap up with. Uh, it's very important to be able to, work with AI models that have outputs that could be explained. Sometimes uh, the output doesn't really have a way by which we can explain it because maybe the input, like what we asked the AI to produce, wasn't clear enough. That's prompting. So it wasn't clear enough. So the output might need to be explained. Or the output is okay, but somebody just needs to review it. It might produce some data that, and I've used some tools which sometimes you look at the recommendations or the data and you're surprised as to how it got to that point. And so we can add value as business analysts by being able to explain the output from AI and be transparent about it. AI, like Maria mentioned before, uh, sometimes it makes mistakes, uh, but then given that it doesn't have an intention, AI doesn't have uh, like an agenda. It just makes a mistake because the model wasn't correct at that time. And so it's our job as value contributors to be able to explain those errors, to be able to correct them, and to be transparent about all those things. So wrapping up our conversation here, we have some interesting additional insights. There are emerging roles and tasks in business analysis which we wanted you to be aware of in case maybe you've not spotted that. Um, those roles, we will talk about them very shortly. But first, remember that when the ATM was introduced, I actually watched a documentary about how much uproar there was in the financial sector. A lot of people were scared that ATMs would replace the tellers and people would lose jobs. But well, today we have much more. So banks, you still continue to utilize the valued services of tellers because it's gone beyond just paying out cash to having a relationship with your customer. And so it's the same kind of view that we're trying to bring to business analysis. It's not about replacing, it's about augmenting. Some roles would need that we behave differently. Some tasks would not be needed ultimately because it's not going to really make sense to do those things when AI can do it way faster. But overall, we're not looking at the replacement here. So we're not preaching some kind of, uh, prophecy of doom here. So it's much more hopeful. So be hopeful about the deployment of AI. That's what we think AI is bringing to us. And so those emerging roles include those you see on the screen. Uh, there's an opportunity for all of us uh, to rebuild ourselves, rebrand ourselves as AI business analysts. And AI business analysts are business analysts who just have a special edge, who just have the cape for the superpowers. So you also have prompt engineers. That's a very high paid profession. It's brand new. So you don't have people with 10 years of experience in prompt engineering, but it's an interesting, interdisciplinary domain where you have a mixture of language. You need to be very good at language and the structure of grammar and business analysis. And you merge all of those things together, including a good understanding of artificial intelligence concepts. So that's prompt engineering. And you have a slew of other, roles that are slowly starting to emerge as a result of the adoption of AI across industries. Integration specialists, companies who want to integrate AI within their different operations, quality analysts, systems architects, product managers, AI systems would be rebranded as products. And you've seen a lot of those products being rolled out by different companies. but you're going to have those roles tailored towards AI. So not just product management, but AI product management. Instructors, somebody has got to train other people. Compliance analysts, those who make sure that AI is being used in the intended form. And of course, ML engineers. The role of ML engineers would most likely be suitable for people in data analysis. So we're going to be moving away from traditional data analysis, given that AI has much of those capabilities, to something deeper. And I know ML engineering is at the high end of the spectrum, but somewhere in between, if that's your career path, if that's where you're trying to go, uh, there's hope. So these are some of the emerging, business analysis roles. There's a ton of them. Some of them are not really called what you have on the screen. Every company has a different way of, naming its people or its roles. So aside from being hopeful, we're trying to pass on a message of preparedness. So we should be hopeful, but we should also be prepared. So there's a lot of changes. Every other month or maybe every other week, there's something that gets released. So we need to understand the scope of AI. It's very broad and sometimes could be murky, but we should try to understand the scope, be updated, stay abreast with the latest developments. Uh, we should really be very specialized and focused. So of all of what exists out there, sometimes I see lists of AI systems and I'm mind blown. So of all of what exists, be focused on something that really gives you value. Look at what your company is using or the direction in which they're going. Pick one, pick two, specialize in that, learn it, and leverage it. Have a mental map of how you can add value. So if you ask me, I could tell you exactly how I could add value to a specific initiative or project. So it's very important to have a mental map of how am I contributing to my company as a business analyst amid the introduction of AI. You could also prepare yourself by enrolling in courses like with Lacroix Institute of Technology. We're going to be having a course on AI and business analysis on the applied side as of September. And so those are interesting avenues for you to get yourself prepared on how to leverage AI. And lastly, you can collaborate with peers, with Maria. You can contact Maria on LinkedIn mostly, or myself, or both of us. We could sit down for a chat and just, exchange ideas. I'm always open to learning, and so is Maria. So we could, get ourselves prepared. So wrapping it up, beyond the crossroads. So at the start of our conversation, we were at the crossroads. What is AI? I'm a business analyst. I'm trying to figure out my spot within the whole thing. And we've gone through uh, the different stages of AI. And the main thing to note in those stages is that we're still at weak AI, narrow AI. So all of what, as fascinating as it looks like, it's still narrow, it's still weak compared to other stages of AI. And we're not even sure that we're going to ever get to the other, much more threatening forms of AI. So it shouldn't be something that causes us not to sleep at night, the introduction of AI. We've looked at industries where AI is being utilized. It's really widespread. We've talked of the role of a business analyst in terms of adding value to your different companies. We've looked at emerging roles and areas where you might want to focus on if that's where your interests lie. And now we're going beyond the crossroads. So beyond the crossroads would be you taking away from our conversation and running away with it, just implementing it, be it some of those recommendations to augment your knowledge or just reaching out uh, to network. All of those things are very well welcome. And so we would open it up to questions. Maria, do you have any final thoughts before we go into questions? We have
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I don't know how many times you counted the word ChatGPT, but
two times.
2 times? Okay, so I just wanted to bring it up because nowadays, with all the rise of ChatGPT, people think that ChatGPT is AI, and that's the only thing about AI. But ChatGPT is just a little tiny fraction of all the capabilities that artificial intelligence has for our field. So just as we already said, keep learning, keep upskilling, and interact with us so that we can keep growing together.
Perfect. So we're down to the questions. We don't have too much time for questions, but we'll try to answer questions. Let me see what we have here. So we have a question from Dr. Alistair Mopesimo. Thanks for the webinar. I'm a medical doctor. Interesting. And my knowledge on AI is limited, but would like to know, would AI create more jobs, or do we risk losing a lot of jobs because of AI? Maria, what do you think?
I think you already covered that part. Like, yes, maybe some jobs will be lost, but there are so many more that will come. Uh, I'm sure like medical doctors will not be replaced, but there might be a way to collaborate with AI. So, as I was saying, you can use now assistant tools to help identify and diagnose some diseases. You can easily and quickly check your X-rays or your MRIs and get better insights. So it's not a replacement, but an enhancement of your job.
Thank you, Maria. Uh, I don't see any other questions. It's possible it's mixed up somewhere. Okay, I don't see any other questions. However, given that we're at the top of the hour, what we're trying to do is to be respectful of your time. We don't want to, use up all of your time. We're very grateful that you've already made it to this webinar. And so if you have any questions, what you can do is please send us an email through the email address on the screen. If your question is directed to Maria specifically, send it still, and we would be able to collaborate with Maria to provide those answers. But we would be very open to answering any questions that come up. You can catch us on social media as well, especially on LinkedIn. If you have questions, you can ask us there as well, and we'll be more than happy to provide responses to your questions. As an extra, we announced that those of you who are participating live, if you decide to go deeper in your exploration of the topic of AI and how it relates to your work, we're going to be rolling out a course on this specific topic as of September. And Maria will be leading that course. So if you want to continue listening to Maria's stories and how she presents AI and how you can leverage, quite frankly, AI, stay tuned. You can send us your interest by email, or you can contact us as well on social media and just let us know what you think. We would also check the polls to see what you think about this subject. So without further ado, that's a wrap for us today, Maria. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much, Maria.
Thank you, Dr.
And
Elliot, for the invitation.
yes, and see you all next time. We're going to be having these conversations many more times. So stay tuned for the next updates on our chats with Maria. Thank you. Have a wonderful day, everyone.